Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Burundi, I want to start right off the bat with this, and I do not have an actual answer for this, but I am curious to know when you think this happened. When was the last time in the NHL that the San Jose Sharks had a player in the regular season in the top five in scoring, top five in points? Because obviously,
Um,
for those who haven't heard, Macklin Celebrini just broke into the top five current scorers in the NHL. I believe he's still, 19?
yeah. Uh, well, that would only be what, 3 years ago?
3 years ago? That recently?
I think so. 'Cause at some point in time, I'm sure Eric Carlson was in the top five for
Oh, I
scoring.
guess. I guess it's possible. I mean, he had a
I don't
100-point
know if he
season,
was
so
to end the season, but I think at some point throughout the season he had to have been. I don't know for sure, but
yeah, you know what? He scored a lot. There's a very good chance of it, especially if he
in
had a
case he
hot
was on
start.
that's what I would assume, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, it's we'll talk about Celebrini more in a little bit here as he
Yeah,
is getting recognized around the league right now quite a bit. But
it's hard to
before
ignore.
we jump into that, I have well, I don't have it, but this is something that's kind of been a lot of people have been talking about lately and over the last few days, and I just want to get your opinion on it, see what you think about it, and
I love it.
discuss it a little bit. So we've talked a lot over the past 3 years and even before this podcast, beyond that,
Sure.
about the way that the NHL does the playoffs. And a lot of people are just banging the drum, wanting to go back to the 1 versus 8. And some people don't even want to do divisions. They just want to do the top 8 in the East and West and just do it that way. And we've discussed that in great lengths, but now people are talking about how each series should be played. And this is a lot to do with the MLB, with baseball, with the format that they go with in the playoffs once it becomes a 7-game series, which is only the last 2 rounds. But the way that they do it is the home team, or I guess the higher seed team, they get games 1 and 2. And then the lower seed, they get games 3, 4, and 5. And then the higher seed, they would get 6 and 7 in a 7-game series, as opposed to the NHL where it's 2, 2, and then they go back and forth 1,
And then
1,
it's
1,
1,
if it
1.
is a 7-game series. And a lot of people are talking about that if the NHL should do that and decrease the travel time for playoffs and just all that type of stuff. So I just wanted to kind of get your thought on what you thought about that, about the idea of the NHL going to the 2-3-2 format for the playoffs.
I think that if you got both of the changes, that being going to a 1 versus 8 and changing it to a 2-3-2 situation, then I think it would be a good idea, because obviously that the 3-2-3 change, or the 3-2-2 change, I guess, that benefits all the players in a way for reducing travel, but it does benefit the away team or the lower seed a bit more because, the main thing it's changing is game 5 is now a home game for the lower seed. And at that point, it's 3 home games for them to 2 for the higher seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't love just that change, but if they did the change in partner with also making it so that it's 1 versus 8, well, okay, so you're giving them an extra away game, but the quality of your opponent, if you're a higher ranked team, should theoretically be a good bit lower. So I think that would offset it enough that I think then it would be a good
Okay,
change.
I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah, I had to think about it for a sec. I'm just on the camp that I just say no. I watched a small clip of Paul Bissonnette. He was talking about it and how it'll probably never happen because of the owners and wanting to guarantee that if you're the higher seed, that if
Yeah.
it even only goes 5, like you're getting that extra game, especially when you see how much revenue teams are bringing in the playoffs, especially like teams like, Montreal and Edmonton. And more than that is because in baseball, you can do back-to-back games, right? Where in the NHL,
Not even on
you
back-to-back
can't.
days. Sometimes they have 2 games in a day.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah, that
MLB as
like
well.
they don't do that in like in the playoffs, obviously,
Not
but
in
I
the
get what you're saying,
playoffs,
like in
but
the regular season they do.
yeah.
But in the NHL, so if you think about it, right? Say, um, I don't want to go Tampa and Florida because that's too close, but we'll go, say Minnesota and Vegas because they played last year, right?
Yeah.
So if game 2 finished on a Sunday in Vegas, so Vegas would then fly out Monday to Minnesota, and then they would play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I just feel like that's kind of a disadvantage. If you're the higher seed, it's now, hey, you got to go on the road for basically, 6 days in the playoffs, as opposed to you would
True.
travel the Monday and then you would play Tuesday, you get Wednesday off, Thursday, and then you fly home after the game. So you're only gone for like, 3 days.
Yes. Well,
So that's kind
and
of
in
my
some
thing with it.
cases
Is
it
it
would be a
just,
full week because we've seen times
yeah,
where, there's,
yeah, that's like the
other
lowest period of time. Yeah.
when NBA playoffs or other big things are going on and they will
Hmm.
push a game back a day,
Yeah.
we've seen that happen where teams
Or there's
randomly have a 2 or 3 day break in the
yeah,
playoffs. So then
because
it
what
could
was
get
it
up to
in?
8 or 9.
What was it? It was the
I think Toronto
there
got
was
pushed
one.
back at
Yeah,
some
Toronto
point this
did because
past season.
there was like a concert or something. So yeah, so you could be looking at a 2-day break, and so it's like if you're the higher seed team, why should it just doesn't make sense that you should be the one to potentially
Yeah.
have to spend a week on the road in the playoffs in a hotel while the other team gets to be at home with all their facilities. It just doesn't make sense because there's all that time in between.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, like for
frankly,
baseball, it makes sense, and I totally get it that way. But
yeah.
for the NHL, it doesn't make sense to me.
You'd almost sooner want to see them go 3-3-1 or something. But I do think that is a bit
Yeah,
too much of a disadvantage to the bottom seeded team. So
yeah,
I kind of think they've got it. They've got it how it is right now. I think is the way to do it. Also, for anyone else who is a big hockey fan but doesn't follow the MLB as closely, I didn't know until very recently that the first 2 rounds of the playoffs were best of 5, and then they evolved to best of 7 in the final 2.
well, the
Um,
very first round is because there's like because
a
some
couple
teams
teams
get
get a
buys in the
bye.
first round, but the
Yeah.
very first round is only a 3-game series,
Oh, the first one's only 3 even.
and it's all the higher seed that gets the home games.
Interesting. Because I remember
Yeah, so
watching,
it's
which game was it? It would have been game 5, Mariners and Blue Jays, and I thought the Blue Jays were out. I thought they were eliminated when they lost that game because I thought it was still best of 5s, and
we
all of a
still thought,
sudden, no,
yeah,
no, this is the round where it evolves into a best of 7, and then obviously the Blue
yeah.
Jays won 6 and 7 to win it.
Well,
So
and it's the same even in the AHL, like just below the NHL. The way that they do the playoffs is like, yeah, like it's a 3-game series, and then I don't even know when it fully evolves. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like the first round is a best of 3, and it's all in one location. The higher seed gets all 3 games, which
hmm,
is kind of weird. Again, like I do understand it, but for the NHL and the way that it the way that it's always kind of been in the way that it because you can't have teams playing on back-to-back nights in the playoffs, like
no,
especially where
especially
we see some games go to
the
overtime, like
they can
triple
go to
overtime,
they can go to
and
triple
then
overtime. The playoff games are so much harder on the players' bodies, like with the style of play and everything. Like, yeah,
yeah.
they can't go back to back with it.
Like I'm all
I
for changing the format of how you maybe seed teams and who makes it, who doesn't. But in terms of where the games are played, I like the two
I think
two,
they
and then you
have
just
that
go
part
back
right.
and forth. I think it's fine. And again, because if I'm the team that the higher seed, like I'd be pissed if it's like, yeah, we got to go on the road and you got to spend a whole week in a hotel because we are the better team in the regular season. It'd be like, oh, that's kind of for the chance that you maybe can get games, 6 and 7 at home.
Yeah.
because there's no guarantee. Like we're seeing lots of series be wrapped up in 5 games now, or even 4,
Yeah.
right? So I just want to kind of throw that out there. A lot of people have been talking about it, and I want to get your thoughts on it. And
It's an
to any of our
interesting
listeners,
concept, but
let us know your thoughts on it, and if you're for it or against it.
these players always want to, it's the same reason why the LTIR loophole took forever to get closed. The owners, the players, the coaches, they all think the same in that if there's something to be able to take advantage of to win, that you can leverage to win, you don't want to get rid of that because other people are using it. You want to figure out how to use it better than other people. So the only people who would be advocating to change where those games are played is the lower seeded teams, because that's who it benefits.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd really argue for it. Instead, they'd say, how about next season we be the higher seed, and then we get to shit on that team being at home more often. So I don't.
Yeah.
The only people that like it would really help is like, obviously it's good for the environment, taking the team jet less, and basically it was just a bunch of clerical stuff like that. The actual players, everyone involved with the actual on ice product, I don't think they'd want it changed really.
Yeah, because it's not, because again, it
Like,
is
it's
kind of
mostly
like
just a money
tough
thing.
because a lot of people that I've seen that were talking about, they weren't even necessarily talking about like the first few rounds. The example everybody was using was Edmonton, Florida, because that's the finals matchup we got the last 2 years,
And it's a very far away matchup.
And that's the thing, right?
Travel's far.
It is a super long. Well, it's the longest distance in a Stanley Cup final ever between those teams. But then it's the thing of, you can't change the way that you do the playoffs just for the Stanley Cup final. And again, if you're the higher seed and you win home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup final, you shouldn't be the one shafted to being, on the road for that long.
Yeah.
Because I do get it that it is tough to travel, especially when you go, when they went to Game 7 and it's, you got to fly to Florida if you're Edmonton, fly back, and then fly back to Florida.
It can be
It
rough,
is annoying. I understand it, but
who was the higher seed?
That's why
was it Edmonton?
Well, the first year Florida was, and then the second, like last year Edmonton was.
Yeah. Well,
because Florida won both in Florida.
Yeah. Well, so imagine being the higher seeded team, and you go out there and you drop one of your home games. You split your home games 1-1. Series is 1-1. You go there. They win 3 in a row at home. You were the higher seeded team. You made it to the Cup Finals. You took them to 5 games in the series, and you only got to play at home twice. It feels yeah. I think it's a little bit overthinking it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I understand where people are coming from. Like, I totally understand it. I just say no, though.
It's just not,
like, I do understand the reasoning
necessary.
And why they think that, but to me, I'm just like, no. To me, I don't believe in it in that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense in that way to me. I just want to kind of get your thoughts on that, because we're in a day and age where the NHL, there's constantly kind of seem to be more and more changes coming out, and the way things are being done. So just want to throw that out there, and knowing Gary Bettman, that this would never happen, because
he really
loves things the way that they format. Are, and again, like, there's still things that can be changed, but this one, I'm leave it the way it is.
I do think they should change the seeding. I think they should go.
Yeah.
I think they should go 1 to 8, and after each round, I think they should do the reseeding.
Well, the reseeding, yes, but at the same time, remember, we still technically do get the 1 versus 8 and 2 versus 7.
Now, because of the
it's only the yeah. So when people say, I'm like, okay, so you just don't like the 2 and 3s of the divisions playing each other, which that I'm on board for. People like, I love watching the team that just gets in the 8 seed go up against the top team. We still get that. It's not technically called 1 versus 8. It's Pacific 1 versus Wildcard 2, whatever, but it is still 1 versus 8. It's just those interdivisional matchups, the 2 and 3 seeds, that is kind of getting dull, because we are just getting the exact same matchups. But in terms of the actual 1 versus 8, we do get that. It's just the stuff kind of in the middle. It could be
Yeah.
fix
Yeah, I
that
would
way.
like it to be a true 1 versus 8 throughout the whole conference. I just don't think divisions should. I think divisions works for the scheduling on who you play a bit more the regular season. When you get to the playoffs, I think it should be East and West, and that's it. Like, I hate that
Yeah.
every year, you know, the Atlantic's a pretty strong division. People want to see if Toronto's going to get over the hump. Florida's been a wagon. Tampa's been a wagon, and at maximum, one of those teams can reach the conference final. Like, I feel like it should be at least possible for that Toronto Florida matchup to happen in the conference final or something like that.
Yeah, the way I would like it would just be, I think, nice and simple, as you do kind of similar to the way it is now, but a little bit different. So the top 2 teams from each division are for sure in. So
Sure.
if you're 1 or 2 in your division, you're for sure in. So that's 4 for the West and East right there. And then you have 4 wild card teams.
4 wild
and that's
cards.
the rest of the teams in those divisions that aren't the top 2. You take all those, and then it's just, hey, whoever's the top team, and you work your way down. And if you're second in the Pacific and you've got the 5th best record in the Western Conference, well, then you're on the road. You didn't play good enough to
You had less
get
points
home ice
than
advantage.
You should have won more games.
So that's the way I would like to. And then then you just
I think
keep
that's
reseeding it
perfect.
from there. You like, instead of having a actual like structure laid out of these are the teams here, this is the only spot they can go, and it kind of leads up that way. Whereas teams can move all over, and then we get a bunch of like new different matchups. And I think that'd be fine.
Yeah.
Because I do think it would suck if like you're second in the Pacific, but it's like the Central's just so beefy that you don't get in. I at least like that 2 teams from each division.
It feels like
for
3 is
sure
too
in.
many. I feel like
3
2 is a good amount.
2
I think
2
2 is the perfect spot.
Because then that leaves 4 wildcard spots open for every other team to fight for.
Yeah, that's still a lot.
Because the last thing I would never happen, probably. Actually, I don't want to say never, but I doubt it.
Very
is
unlikely.
If like Vegas is the top in the Pacific, and then all 7 other teams are Central teams. Because then I'm just like, yeah.
It would be a very rare case.
Exactly. So I don't think it would happen, but I like you do the top 2 and then let everybody else fight, and then then you.
I like the idea of that
moving forward, like depending on who's still the highest and lowest, that move on.
Yeah, I like that idea. It helps. You still get 2 teams from each division. It kind of balances it out a bit that way, but you're not holding out these other teams because of the arbitrary divisions, and also you're getting much different matchups. Like we're really getting to a point where it's like we're seeing the same matchups a lot, and it's not these fun rivalries. We're not getting the Avalanche Red Wings of the early 2000s. Like some of the matchups are fun, but I don't think the Oilers or the Kings want to see each other in the playoffs again this year. I mean, maybe the Oilers because they beat them every time, but it's not engaging hockey, right?
Yeah,
it's not going to draw you in at this point. So it would be great to see, maybe the Panthers get a plucky young team like the Devils in the first round. Like that could be a fun matchup. You get there's a lot of these interconference but not interdivision matchups that we just don't get to see, because a lot of those teams, they would only face each other if they make it into the conference final. So
it's basically just a new way to give us different matchups instead of kind of the same ones we've been getting. But just want to get your thoughts overall on that. But we can move on to the next one here. We got a little bit of news across the league, some milestones. We got 1 trade. I don't think any extensions.
I don't think
rolled
so.
out yet. So where do you want to start here in terms of what's actually happening in the NHL right now, not hypotheticals?
Well, let's I guess we might as well just start at the top and work our way down. We got the NHL announcing their 3 stars of the week. Those 3 players being at number 1, Macklin Celebrini, number 2, Logan Cooley, and number 3, Jack Hughes. if I'm not mistaken, Jack Hughes is the oldest of those players. He was born May 14th, 2001. That's
The future of the league right there between these three guys.
The future is here, man.
Yeah, all and three incredible players. All three had incredible weeks. I mean, just three really good.
They all had like players. 5 goals, right? Like, I think each of them had 5 goals. Like, Cooley had a hat trick and then 2 goals the next game. I think Celebrini was 5 and 5. I think Hughes was like 5 and 3. Like, man, they were all taking over the games that they were participating in.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, Celebrini,
Logan Cooley's going to get money, man. He's going to get paid so hard.
Cooley's going to get paid. I mean, Celebrini was kind of the main reason that, the Sharks have 2 wins now. Kind of took over that game against the Rangers, and then, obviously the overtime winner, but all throughout the entirety of the Minnesota game. He went 16 for 20 on faceoffs against Minnesota Wild, which is pretty damn incredible for
that's good.
A 19-year-old. And I didn't throw this in here because I'm like, these stats are always just like, I get it. I get what they're going for. But to me, I'm like, these are just kind of weird. But it was like Celebrini I think he was the 5th teenager to put up 15 points in 9 games to start a season. And it's like Wayne Gretzky was, I think, 1. Brian Trottier was 2.
One of those really cherry pick stats.
With like Crosby and so on. So I'm like, I get what they're going for. They're trying to highlight him as, this up and come player. And I'm all for that because I love Celebrini. But those stats are always just kind of weird to me that it's like just these random little things they pick out. And it's like, okay, so now if he drops, say, 5 points in his next game, are they going to come up with another stat now of, he's up to 20 points in 10 games? And it's like, again, I totally get what they're going for, but those stats are just kind of weird to me.
It really depends for me on some of those, because some of them are fun stats, like, because the one I thought you were going to bring up, which I think is a different one, unless I misinterpreted it, is I believe the most 5+ point games scored by a teenager, which I believe that list was just Celebrini, Gretzky, and Trottier. There might have been another name, but I didn't
even see that one.
I think it was just those 3, and those are the only 3 that have had multiple 5+ point games while they're a teenager. Like, something like that seems a lot more cool to me than as a teenager in the first 9 games as a very specific number, getting this many. Like, that one has a lot of quality. At least it's like, as a teenager getting 5+ point games, at least there's a couple less qualifiers in that.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of them are very impressive. That's why they're being thrown around by teams making graphics and all that. But
yeah,
sometimes it is, you look at a stat, it's like, that's the most cherry picked thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel when I see someone. Like, I get what they're doing. It's cool, but yeah, just kind of weird at the same time, And there's nothing wrong with that. We love weird around here. But congrats to Celebrini, Cooley, and Jack Hughes. 3 stars of the week.
That 3 guys that, like, and I know a lot of people would roll their eyes hearing this, especially with Cooley on the list there, but like 3 guys that I could legitimately see challenging for like Art Rosses in the future. Like, I don't think that would shock anyone to say about Celebrini or Hughes, but Logan Cooley's freaking good, man. He's only what is he, 21? And like, how many points? He's already got 120 points in his NHL career in 167 games. He's got 11 points on the year.
To get a little scary for Utah. I mean, we're going to get into Utah and we're going to, pump their tires a bit here, but things are a bit scary for them because Logan Cooley's in need of a new deal, and so is someone else on Utah who is tied for the league lead in points, and that is Nick Schmaltz.
He's number 1 in our fantasy league. I saw him the other day, and I was like, bro, like, I get being high up there. Number 1? We're not at that. We're still in that point where it's like, things are going to settle down. Nick Schmaltz probably isn't winning the Rocket despite being up there in goals, but like at the same time, we're like 10% of the way through the season.
He hasn't slowed down yet.
Like we are a decent bit in now to still be like top of the league.
He's been playing good. He's on a contract year. He's a hell of a player. So there could be some big extensions that are going to be rolling down in Utah.
What do you
pretty
give
soon.
a guy like that? Like he's
And
never been
the
that
tough part, right?
Like most people, I think it's fair to say would say he's a top to middle six forward. He's good, but like he's not. I don't think many people would call him elite. But didn't Schmaltz he has a history of being a beast at times. Like, didn't he have like a 6-point game a couple of years ago or something? An 8-point game? Wasn't he playing in freaking Arizona at the time?
Yeah.
Like, how does Arizona as a team put up 8 goals, let alone one guy putting up those points? He's clearly scoring this year. Like,
well, that's exactly the thing, right? Is like what do you pay him? You look at the track record of the past few years, but then at the same time, it's he's balling out this season. So, and he's a UFA. So if you don't give him a good enough offer, he walks and then tries to get it from free agency. And I imagine if he goes to free agency, some team will pay him because I'm still in the belief that the free agency class isn't going to be good. So if you're Utah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting. I feel like, and that's the tough part, right? Do you give him an extension now, in hopes you can maybe get someone a little bit lower, and he keeps going? But then if you don't do right now, and he keeps us up for a long time,
well, now you
probably not all season. Like he's gonna have cool off for a little bit here, but if he ends up being a 100-point guy, now you really do have to pay him.
Yeah.
So that'll be a tough one that Utah will have to figure out. But the Logan Cooley one is the most important one because he is kind of the future of that team. So you gotta get him locked in here.
Yeah. I'm just looking to see what Nick Schmaltz's some of his career numbers look like. I mean, his last 4 like I didn't really know he was this good of a player. I knew he was good, but like 59 points in 63 games. That's 4 years ago. That's 5 years ago, including this season with Arizona. 58 in 63. That's almost point per game again in Arizona. 61 in 79. 63 and 82 last year, and now he's got 16 and 10 so far this year. Like,
yeah, like he's a good top 6 guy. He's just never been like the superstar of the team, like the top guy.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I have no idea what a guy like that ends up getting paid. Like, and
I could give you guesses going into this year, but with what he's done now, who knows?
Yeah, and if they trade him to like a solid contender and try and really get some value back, if they think they can't get a deal with him, like what does that return look like? Like you retain half of that, you bring his salary down to a little under $3 million. What do you get for a guy who has been around a point per game for the past 4 seasons, looks dominant this year? Like,
but if you're Utah, what do you want in a trade even?
Probably an impact
maybe a
now
goalie,
player, right?
Maybe a defenseman. Like you don't need another forward. And if you trade Schmaltz, you're not going to get a forward that's better than him. And you don't really need to bring in another forward if you're moving up because you already have so many good forwards and you have so many good prospects. Like it's really, you get a starting goalie or a defenseman, but what starting goalies are out there that you can make a move for that's going to be better than what you have? So it's probably
there's not a lot of goalies available better than Vejmelka. Like most teams aren't shipping their goalies. The first thing that springs to my mind is the New Jersey Devils.
I was going to say the Devils, but the Devils don't need Schmaltz is the problem.
I was going to say, I don't know if they need him, but something like a Seamus Casey for Seamus Casey and something else for Nick Schmaltz. Maybe.
Yeah, see, like New Jersey makes sense because they have defensemen, but for Utah or for New Jersey, it doesn't make sense though.
Yeah,
because Unless it's
They can
really
score.
they're going all in on like for this year.
Yeah. Or if they could work out an extension with them that they liked, kind of a sign and trade. But
But he would want a lot of money, and that's a lot of money to pay a guy that's probably going to be in your maybe top 6.
it's so hard to tell what he would get. Like between his like pretty good consistency, but then he's really exploded this year. He also that consistency happened on a very turbulent Arizona team. The cap's going up. Like there's like a legitimately like a $5 to $6 million range where I could see him signing for anywhere in there. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be outright shocked if he signed for less for anywhere around 5.5 or 6 mil. But the way the cap's looking, I mean, if he keeps this up and finishes around 80 to 90 points on the season, is 10 mil really out of the question? Like, who knows?
No, exactly right. But while we are on the topic of, we're talking about some players on Utah, let's just, go with this. This is the headliner of the episode here. Utah Mammoth, 7-0 since introducing Tusky as their mascot.
Yeah, and I believe I'm going to bring up their schedule here, but I'm pretty sure that they've faced like a decent amount of very solid teams. I know that they beat the Jets the other day. They have beaten the Jets, the Blues, the Mammoth, the Avalanche, the Bruins.
You said the Mammoth.
The Sharks, the Flames.
Do you mean Avalanche?
Yes, the Avalanche.
The Avalanche. Okay, you said Mammoth there.
Okay. I was like, great. Which one didn't I say?
Actually, they're probably the only team right now that could beat them. They beat themselves. Yeah, I mean, Utah is on a roll right now. They're 8-2 on the season. It's good for second overall in the entire league. A plus 13 goal differential that is tied for best in the league alongside the New Jersey Devils. It's going good for Utah right now.
At the moment.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Things are rolling right now. I mean, Schmaltz over a point per game, Keller over a point per game, Cooley, Gunther over a point per game, Peterka 9 points in 10 games, Sergachev 8 and 10. You're getting good goaltending. Things are working right now, so why? There's no point even messing with it right now.
Yeah, like unless they're really scared they're going to lose him for nothing, like there's not really a reason to be panicking if for any reason if you're them. They've even got $4.5 million in cap space at the moment. They've got so many extra draft picks. They're the only pick in the next 3 years they're missing is their 6th round pick this year. That's the only of their pick they're missing, and they've got 2 extra seconds, 2 extra thirds, an extra fourth, 2 extra fifths. Like they've got all that. They've got these young guys. They're doing this without Daniil Boot. I think Simishev might be playing now. T. Jaginla, like they've got all these great
Caleb Desnoyers, like they have a lot of
great prospects
that aren't even in the NHL yet,
and they're already 8-2. Without that, their cap situation looks good. Like this,
and Utah's doing
team is in a real nice spot.
They're 8-2 right now, second best in the league. Their power play is 22.2. That's 14th in the league. They're tied for 29th in faceoff percentage, so they suck at faceoffs, yet they're winning games. Their penalty kill, 72.7, tied for 22nd in the league, yet their goals allowed is per game 2.4. That's tied for second in the league. So this is a team where either the special
they're just
teams
dominating 5-on-5.
It's 5-on-5, and they're getting it done. They're basically the opposite of the Minnesota Wild. The Wild are a great, great on the power play went up, but like the 5-on-5 is pretty brutal for them. So I mean, I can't say enough good things about what Utah's done, where they're at right now, and
did we both
this is a strong start to the season for them, and it's going to be huge for them down the road in what's going to be probably a close playoff race in this division. And yes, I did have Utah making the playoffs.
Did we both have their coach winning the Jack Adams? I think that's one of the few ones we both did. And that's looking very solid
good right now. We didn't jinx a coach this year.
People weren't sure if they'd make the playoffs, and at the moment they're 8-2. Like they look phenomenal. Like If they can,
Yeah.
even if they cool down but keep up the relatively good play, they're in the playoffs and he gets a Jack Adams fairly easy. So it's kind of his to lose, and the Mammoth spot in the playoffs at the moment to lose at 10 games into the season. But do we want to move on from them? And of course, as we were saying, 7-0 since they introduced Tusky. I am loving seeing all the Tusks Up stuff. I don't know if you've been seeing as much Tusks Up stuff around online, but it's fun. Like,
Yeah, I've seen a fair bit of it, and people are loving it.
I'm glad that people are really getting behind this team. Like, it's people seemed a little hesitant at first because, people really wanted to see the Arizona Coyotes work out, and unfortunately their owner just sucked so hard and couldn't right the ship of that franchise. Like, I fully believe if they were still in Arizona under that ownership, they would not be near as good as they are right now. They would not have even a close to similar roster as Utah already has right now. But yeah, and Arizona works as a hockey market, but not with that guy running it. With the guy that's running the Mammoth right now, they're looking very good. It's crazy how fast they turned around from where Arizona was to what Utah has become in a year and a half. Like, it really hasn't even been that long. So yeah,
All right, I'm back. We're all good.
We're all good.
We're all good. Love Utah. Love where they're at.
Yeah, I was just talking about how it's just so impressive how they went from what Arizona was to what Utah is now in a year and a half.
Yeah,
like it's crazy what a competent ownership group can do.
Well, Vancouver should take notes.
Yeah, they should take notes and build a practice facility for one. Quinn
I heard
Hughes
apparently Colorado's
doesn't have one.
Pretty bad as well.
I just know that the Canucks are the only team that doesn't have one in the league. Like, they straight up don't have a practice facility. I'm not sure if I imagine there are teams where they're probably less nice. I guess the Canucks are one of two teams that don't have it. Them and the Flames currently do not have their own practice facility built into the arena. But the Flames, we know, are getting one once the new arena is finished being built. Because right now, I believe their practice facility is over by COP, like the Olympic area.
I believe you're right, yeah.
So they have to go over there to do it.
The Flames will be getting one.
Once we get the fireplace grand opening.
But we can move on from one of the best teams in the league, top team in the West, the Utah Mammoth. Second one on here. I'll let you quickly just throw this one out here.
Yeah, there's really not much to say other than report it because we know basically nothing. But the Washington Capitals, I believe Mitch Love has been suspended. I don't think he's been fired yet.
No, so he was suspended for the entire year, but he now reports saying like he's been fired.
The new one is that he's fired. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Capitals just
Okay, yeah. The Washington Capitals then have fired assistant coach Mitch Love after the NHL did an investigation. He was suspended for, was it supposed to be all of this season?
Yeah.
He was going to be suspended due to an investigation into domestic abuse rumors. They must have found something in the investigation because this is a very random time to be like, we're firing this guy while he's suspended.
Because it came out before the season started that he was, suspended by the league for the entire season as he was under investigation. But we didn't know what for. And I'm kind of assuming the Caps, like the Washington Capitals, didn't fully know because they just put he's suspended, no further comment and whatnot. But now that, it's come out what's kind of going on, then the Capitals are like, all right, you're done. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good situation. This was a guy that, because we know a lot of Flames fans. Flames fans were banging the drum that this should have been the guy coaching in Calgary. This was the guy that most Flames fans seem to
Yeah.
want to be the head coach of the Flames moving forward. Um, so it's you know it's still an ongoing story, but I don't think one we're going to hear of too much as
If
he's
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 been
no longer
fired,
affiliated with the Capitals.
yeah. Yeah, unless he's got some real good friends in the league, I don't know if we'll be hearing his name for a good amount of time.
And I don't know for sure, but I believe Mitch Love was one of the few interviewing for the head coaching job with the Pittsburgh Penguins this offseason too.
That sounds accurate. I feel like I remember
And
that. I don't know for sure, but I think you're
the
right.
Penguins went in a different direction with Dan Hughes, and they're 6-2-1 on the season.
Very good to
They're
start the year.
fifth in the league, and a lot of people were saying they're going to be a bottom three team, and they're off to a hot start. So
Maybe
Pittsburgh
the
made a good
Avalanche
call.
should trade McKinnon over to Pennsylvania.
Well, but at the same time, Colorado's third in the league.
Ah, damn.
How crazy is that though? Colorado's 3, Montreal's 4, Pittsburgh's 5. All 3 of Crosby's teams, huh?
He has his pick of where he wants to win the final one.
Yeah. But yeah, not much more to say on that story, and Capitals can move forward now. I haven't heard of anything of who has even filled that role or anything, but
No, I don't think they did. I think it was just kind of an open role until now. I imagine they'll probably start looking at promoting from within or bringing somebody in.
yeah.
Speaking of the Pittsburgh Penguins, they have lost forward Rakell. He is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks due to a hand injury. Um, that's rough. The last thing this team needs is some injuries on on some of their more major players. Like he's been incredible for them in the last 2 seasons now, and they're definitely going to miss him, especially since
Yeah.
out of nowhere, like I don't think a lot of people are still going to expect the Penguins to make the playoffs, but you got to imagine in that locker room, they're all going, "We can make this. We can make this happen
Hmm.
right now." So that's a big loss for them.
Yeah, it's not ideal for them. Thankfully, they have gotten off to a good start, and they're still finding ways to win games. So, you know, it'll be huge for them once they can get Raquel back, and we'll see if Pittsburgh can keep up the momentum they're on and keep this hot start to the season going. Last of the actual headlining news we got here was the Edmonton Montreal game that took place at the end of last week, where the refs kind of got involved a little bit with the game. You got some quotes here that you prepared
Yeah,
here for us.
yeah. They're so as far as right now, there have been no fines announced for any of these comments made, which frankly I was a little surprised by because the league loves to fine people for speaking out against the refs or the league or any of that, right? They kind
Yeah,
of power trip over that pretty easily. Um, but to give the context before I give the quotes, I guess the refs called, I believe it was in the end 7 penalties in a row on the Habs from partway through the second to the end of the game,
I think it was
and
only 5. I'll double check here though.
yeah, um, some of them were worse than others, but the main things I have here is that the refs called a soft but not horrendous tripping call on Mike Matheson. It wasn't a blatant trip, but we've definitely seen worse calls on trippings before. The Oilers scored on the power play. Um, when that happened, it was 5-3 for the Habs. So now they score a goal on the power play. It is now 5-4 for the Habs. Anderson was pretty upset. He shoots the puck down the ice in frustration, and the ref gives him an unsportsmanlike penalty. Um, that leads to another Oilers power play goal immediately after. Um, when I heard that he got a penalty, an unsportsmanlike for shooting the puck down the ice, I thought it was going to be worse than it was. We literally see that almost every NHL game. The way a guy will go and he just he doesn't wrist shot, like he grabs it and kind of slings it, and he kind of throws it over to the side. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's it really wasn't much to give an extra penalty, especially on an Oilers power play that's very, very skilled. So that led to another goal. So all of a sudden, bam, bam, it's 5-5. Um, that one was really rough, and that's the one where the majority of the quotes I've got here come in. Um, so that happened to Anderson, who shot the puck down, and the penalty was called on him. After the game, Gallagher said that the official who penalized Anderson was complaining that Anderson showed him up, and that's why he got the penalty. Um, I mean, I like to think I'm pretty decent at hockey speak, but I don't really know what that means. You're showing up the ref when you're being frustrated. Like, I don't think anyone was trying to make the ref look stupid or anything, but maybe Gallagher knows a bit more than we do.
It was
Another,
six straight penalties for Montreal. It was 2 in the second, so that's normal. But then it was 3 penalties in the. Well, I guess technically only 5 because the last one was Jake Evans just got a misconduct for 10 minutes. So it was only 5 penalties in a row, but it was spread out across the second and the third.
yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. Started with Slav's penalty, Slavkovsky. Talked to him after that one. They admitted it wasn't a penalty. They made a mistake. So that's Gallagher afterwards saying that he talked to the refs, and they even told him one of them wasn't a penalty. They just messed up. And then they continued to get penalties after that were pretty brutal. The refs kind of took over the game there, and kudos to them for winning it, is what Cole Caulfield said. I love the way Caulfield delivered that. The refs kind of took over the game there, and kudos to them for winning it. The way he says the "and kudos to them for winning it," I do think he meant the refs, but he said it in a way that there's definitely enough plausible deniability that he could be like, "Lee, you can't fine me for that. I was talking about kudos to the Oilers for winning it despite the reffing." Like, he kind of said it in a way that gives himself an out if the league came after him for it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if they did, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was not a great look.
So I've
Also,
got
I have
2.
heard that one of the refs in that game is from Alberta, which, who's to say if it matters, but it feels relevant. The game, to some people, felt kind of fixed towards the Oilers. But
Yeah, but people always say that, and people always say the same thing. Well, if it's a penalty, you got to call it. I mean, the one ref did, admit he made a mistake. But it always goes back to what I say at the same time, kill a penalty. I mean, the Islanders are able to do it against Edmonton. Edmonton's offense has been pretty rough this year. I did because I mean I do agree that the reffing wasn't great, but I won't be on the camp of saying that the refs completely, cost them the game. I just realized that apparently I lost my camera, so you'll be getting that back.
oh, there we go.
I don't know
Excellent.
when that disappeared. Where was it here?
Wasn't
It
sure if you
was
were dealing with the dogs or not.
Yeah, just one of them. Where was it here? In Edmonton, in the first period, Nick Suzuki's line was 100% in expected goals, and the Kapanen
Wow.
line was 96% after 20 minutes, yet the score was tied 1-1. In the Calgary game, which was 2 days earlier on the Wednesday, the Kapanen line was 91% in expected goals, and the Suzuki line was 89% in the first period. Yet Montreal was only up 1-0. So that's 2 games in a row where, Montreal's kind of dominating offensively, but
It's not
are
going
having
in.
trouble scoring goals. And I mean, by the end of the game in the Edmonton one, they did score 5. Like they did score 5, but again, I mean, penalties happen. This happens every game. There's lots of games you can go through where a team gets, 4 penalties in a row. And, yes, sometimes you may lose because of it, but I mean, it is part of the game. It does suck. Like I'm fully on board that it does suck,
Yeah.
but it is part of the game. You can't just take the refs out and say, go out there and just play hockey, no rules. Like they're
No,
out there.
but
It's unfortunate, but
the Slavkovsky penalty they even had self-admitted wasn't a penalty, and then they give
but that's the thing.
they give
they took
Anderson
accountability at least.
to a player on the ice. That's it. And then
But
they made a bad call after that on Anderson, giving him an unsportsmanlike for
but if this
shooting the
was
puck down. That happens
Minnesota
all the
and
time.
Utah, and this happened to Minnesota, no one would give a shit. Like it's because it's Montreal.
I mean, that doesn't.
Montreal is a big market. They're
that
very loud and out there. Like this, I
think it should matter if it's any
one
team.
other game this year that it's happened this year, and
I don't think with a call that
no
egregious,
one's talking about it
is the major thing.
But it happens. Like that's
I don't think they don't get that excuse anymore. As soon as I can't possibly watch a game, there is nowhere on earth where you can watch a game without watching at like minimum 5 to 10 minutes of sports betting ads. If you want me to bet on this game that bad, we can't be having dumb penalties that end up costing games.
Every game and expect the reffing to be 100% perfect. If we want that,
no.
Give us 4 officials on the ice at all times. Give us 10 and say you're all a ref and a linesman. You each pick a player and you watch them solely. Like you can't do that. Calls are going to happen that
frankly they definitely could. Not all on the ice. It would be watching. But
exactly. But there's calls that get made that shouldn't
employ
happen.
All your friends.
But there's all true. But then
NHL
there's also
love
calls that should be made that don't happen. And
yeah,
you know, like I the more that I start to get older, which sucks, and I want to say wiser, the more I start to realize at the end of the day that it always, to me, from what it at least gets put out on social media, is it's never the player's fault. You know, you look at any game that a team lose, it's our goalie fucked us, they suck, or the refs. And once I've started to get older, I'm kind of like,
this guy doesn't follow a lot of Toronto media.
Like these goalies are, you know, like we talked about with Stuart Skinner, he gets ripped by Edmonton nonstop, but it's like, yeah, but he's only getting paid $2 million. He's a good $2 million goalie.
Yeah,
you know, if you want him to be a $10 million,
people should definitely be on their GM and their owners, the president, all of them more, and in Edmonton 100%. Than anyone else.
But it's just the more I watch, I'm like, you know, I start to realize that, like, it's, you know, being a ref is tough. They're never going to be perfect, and you know, people say, well, that's not okay. They should, but it's impossible with how fast, you know, the game is.
Yeah.
I think
I definitely
MLB,
think
they're looking at removing the umpire and having it be like, you know, with the technology they're coming out with.
I think they're just having that for the strike zone. I don't think I think the umpire will still be there to call safe and like rules.
Yeah, but I mean, for calling the strikes though, in terms of that,
which is probably a great change. But but yeah, it's one of those things where I definitely think people are very quick to blame the ref too much. I mean, you see it literally every game, and that's not hyperbole. It wouldn't be hyperbole to say literally 100% of games in the last 20 years, I guess barring games where there's no penalties, every time the home team your guy can go out there and elbow this dude like a barbarian, or the most obvious right on the hand slash of all time, and the ref calls a penalty and the home crowd boos because their guy's going to the box, right? And you even see it from the players. This guy will cross-check someone in the mouth, and then the play's blown down, and he's going around. He's looking around like, what? Why are we stopping? And they're like, you got a penalty. And he's sitting there in the box like, oh, the refs are screwing me. What? I didn't do that. Like, as if this guy hasn't played hockey for 20 to 30 years and knows exactly what he did, right? Unfortunately, that's all the stuff that's just never going to go away because people are passionate about the sport and the game. But
I really
it's
feel
these
like
specific cases that you would love to see cleaned up. I mean at this point, there's nothing you can do. It's over and done.
You know, it's like I said, if it wasn't an Edmonton Montreal game, if it was 2 smaller teams, no one would give a shit.
But that's just media coverage. That doesn't mean that it's less important.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Those people are, like I've seen people like, oh, the refs hate Montreal. They favor Edmonton and all this. And then you take another Edmonton game and it's McDavid gets, you know, tripped 10 times in a game, but they only call it twice. And
Yeah.
people are like, well, it's a penalty. You got to call it every time. And people are just, they're never going to be fully happy with the refs. Like I've kind of learned that the refs could go out there and do a flawless game. But if you're a fan of one of those teams, they were horrible. Like they can't please everybody. They can't please, any of the fans in the building there. Any of the fans watching on TV, like it is the hardest job that there kind of is, because you are hated no matter what you do. And I feel like the reffing has gotten better, and a large part of that is due to
I think I would agree.
The more technology that we have and whatnot. I thought a big step in reffing was last year. I can't remember who it was who accidentally hit the ref, but there wasn't a suspension, there wasn't a penalty, because the ref, it said, he said, like, I feel like he didn't mean to. Like, it was a clear accident.
Yeah.
I'm not going to penalize a player. I'm not going to demand for a suspension, because the league said it was up to the ref's discretion on whether that should happen, and the ref said no. And I felt like that was a big step. And then there's people being like, oh, he should be suspended. He hit the ref. But it's like, if the ref feels like it wasn't intentional, if the ref wasn't hurt by it, that's his call, and he made that call. And I felt like that was a big step, because 5 years ago, it would have been immediately, minimum 10-game suspension, and then what else afterwards. So I felt like that was
on top of that, whatever team that guy plays for the rest of the season, I bet even if they played the cleanest hockey possible, at best they would be 30th in the league for penalties taken. Like, they would be one of the most penalized teams. Like, after was it Chris or Dennis Weidman? Whichever Weidman incident in Calgary, the season before, I believe they were like top 5 or top 10 for least penalties taken. Next season, dead last. I think 30th, because I think there was 30 teams at the time. Like, they were a good bit below 29 as well. Like, they didn't make any big changes to their roster, no coach change. They got freaking hammered by the refs because they're a bit of a mafia. Yeah. So when you see them, before, they definitely would have hammered a guy for that. And the ref being like, I don't think he did it on purpose, and not making a thing out of it, definitely does show some improvement on their end. I would love to see what happens with the Habs, because they didn't get any fines, but a couple of their players and their head coach, Marty St. Louis, they kind of spoke out, and they didn't outright say it was horrible, but they made their stances known that they weren't a fan of the officiating. So are the refs going to call them the same? Is it going to be worse? Is it going to be worse, but not as bad as in the past? Like, I'd love to see if there's a visual difference in how their games are called, or if it's less than it used to be.
Yeah,
I do think
I guess
the refs still do it, but I think it's not as bad as it was.
Yeah, so kind of the last two things I can say on this, and this might be taken out of context, or some people might view this different ways. The two things is, so I don't think there will be any fines, because it's already past like Monday morning.
I think it's 2 or 3 days.
Fine,
now.
it would have been slapped down, Monday morning, whatnot.
Yeah. Unless they're gearing up for like a new league precedent setting fine that they have to like work out with lawyers or something. But I very much doubt it.
And then secondly, again, it kind of goes back to what I kind of said before. Montreal, basically, from what these quotes is kind of what I'm taking away, is they're saying we should have won, but the refs cost us the game. And I'm just kind of like, well, you did allow 6 fucking goals at the end of the day in regulation. I mean, you did score 5, but you allowed 6. That's tough to win a game when you allow 6. And when Edmonton's power play's kind of been dog shit this year, the Islanders kind of stopped them. I mean, it's the same thing when I talk about my personal favorite game of all time, the San Jose Vegas Game 7. Was that a 5-minute penalty on Vegas? Absolutely not. It shouldn't have been a penalty at all. But at the end of the day,
I do find it funny you think that, because I do still think it should have been.
Well, I mean, by the rule book, technically, yes, it is a 5-minute major. But in my opinion, like I don't think there should have been a penalty. But you allowed 4 goals in like
Yeah.
4 in 4 minutes. You allowed 4 power play goals to a team that you had shut out the entire game up until that point. So
Yeah.
you could blame the rest for it, but again, like you just completely collapsed. And I don't think the refs will take anything further at it from on this game, because these aren't super harsh things. Like, they're not saying anything like negative about the refs personally. They're just kind of like they're more kind of generalized quotes for the most part.
I would love to know how different the reaction to this would be, because like we said, what was it, 6 penalties in a row after this? Or to end the game for the Habs?
5. Because the last one was just a 10-minute misconduct.
Oh, right. So there's the weak tripping call, leads to a goal, shoots the puck down the ice, leads to a unsportsmanlike. They score on that. And those are the two of the softer calls where they scored on those power plays. I'd love to know if they made those same soft calls and they killed both those penalties off, and then they got 2 more penalties throughout the third, and that were legitimate penalties, an actual slash, call it, or whatever, and then they scored on those. Would it be the same type of narrative? Would it be the refs screwed us because look at all these penalties? Or would it be different because the ones Edmonton scored on were the weak ones?
I think it would still be the refs screwed us, but it would just be because of how many penalties, not because of which penalties Edmonton scored on.
Right.
I guess. Because, I think it would still be the same thing. It would just be now, instead of 4 in a row, it's 6 or 7. Fuck. I wish I went up. Wish I went up one more bracket there. But I think it would still be.
Shout out to friend of the show, Connor Bedard.
Just just kind of be a little bit different in how they approach it. Fuck. All right, let's move on from it now.
This guy said 6-7.
I don't even understand it though.
I
don't even know what it means or what, like, what's the point of it? It's all ass, man.
Oh, that's good stuff. Speaking of 6-7, which is not relating to the Leafs in this situation, it's to the Blackhawks. Lucas Reichel was traded to Vancouver for a 4th-round draft pick. It sounds like he pretty quietly requested a trade out of Chicago just because he wasn't getting a lot of ice time. He wasn't getting a lot of chances. I believe he's on his 3rd head coach in Chicago. So at this point, he just kind of doesn't have the trust of the organization. So Blackhawks doing right by the player. They move him. Vancouver, wanted him, and the Blackhawks get a 4th-round pick out of it.
Well, and Reichel, former, 1st-round pick. Vancouver buys low on him. Why not, right? So the chance of a 4th-round pick turning into something spectacular, there's always a chance, but probably not. So you take a chance on a young former 1st-round pick, and
I believe
you never know. How old is he? 22? 23?
23. Turned 23 last summer. Yeah, 17th overall.
It's a good buy low for the Canucks.
And I'm pretty sure the trade was for a 4th-rounder in, I think, 2027. So it's not even super soon. So you borderline got him for free. It's just so the Blackhawks can say they got something for him.
What's his career high?
Career high in the NHL, 70 games played, 8 assists, 22 points. And that was last season.
8 goals, you mean?
8 goals, 22 points in 70 games. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably on a dog shit Blackhawks team.
Yeah, that was on the Blackhawks last season, actually. And he's got 4 points for the Blackhawks in 5 games this year. 2 goals, 2 assists in 5 games. So kind of looks like he was having a better start to the season than normal, but
yeah, so this could be a great pickup for Vancouver, and like you said, essentially, basically for nothing.
Yeah, they are not going to miss that 4th rounder. So
Yeah, I really like this
for him. There's no
for
reason
Vancouver, for
not to.
Chicago. I mean, you know, when you're trading a guy like this, you're obviously just taking the best offer that comes to you. And if this was the best offer that came, I mean, yeah, if he wanted out, you kind of had to move on to him. So good on the Blackhawks for doing right by the player. But for Vancouver, very solid. We can't say
Yeah.
that super often about Vancouver
I was gonna
lately,
say.
but this time we can.
Yeah, they man, they've had a couple of guys go through Chicago now that just really haven't worked out for them. Guys like Reichel and Kirby Doc, stuff like that. Like they've
Kurashev
had,
had that one good year, and they kind of gave up on him.
yeah, they've had hell, they had Dylan Strome for a bit, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't even think they were the first team to pass on him, and well,
And they
he's
let
a
him
point per game guy
walk.
now.
They let him walk.
Yeah, and he just went and signed with Washington, right? After
Yeah,
that,
they didn't even trade him. They just
yeah,
let him go.
yeah, people acting like Washington did a real sneaky good rebuild. I mean, it makes it a lot easier when you get an 80-point center in free agency,
But he
right?
also wasn't an 80-point guy when they got him,
No,
right? Like he was still, I don't know, maybe he was about maybe 60 points in Chicago or something. 55. I feel like he had one actually pretty good year in Chicago.
there's no way. Like,
If I'm not mistaken, I believe he was
surely
actually
they don't let him
acquired.
walk.
I believe Chicago. Oh, you know who else Chicago had? And they traded him for Dylan Strome, Nick Schmaltz.
Nick Schmaltz,
They had Schmaltz too
48 points in 69 games with the Blackhawks.
on a what would have been a dog shit Blackhawks team at that time.
What about these I always thought he just took a long time to finally break out as that third overall pick that he was. And like I guess he did in 20 because it happened in 2015, but by 2018 he was putting up 51 in 51 points in 58 games.
That was with the Coyotes though, right?
No, that was the Blackhawks. Before
Oh,
that it was 6 and 20, 9 and 21, 1 and 7. So he never it looks like he probably either was not able to stay in the lineup or was injured in Arizona. He broke out immediately with the Blackhawks and was good for years, and then they just let him walk. I guess they just needed to do the rebuild, but trade
I
him.
guess. Yeah.
Do you hate draft picks? Like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to shit on too much of what Chicago did because I mean they did end up with Connor Bedard by the end of it all, but yeah, you kind of look at how much value, was lost during that time.
Yeah, like you don't have to trade back for players now, and that would have kept you too good to get Bedard. You could have trade. I'm sure a team would have taken Strome for a first probably at the time. He was a little
Yeah.
under a point per game, like third
And
overall pick.
I'll go back to them because their rebuilds are kind of like in line with each other, but how much Chicago kind of just let go for nothing, whereas San Jose, how much they got back for what they got rid of. Granted, San Jose did move out like much better players than what Chicago had, but still they just capitalize on getting value for what they have, regardless what it is, opposed to
there's no reason
nothing.
Going into a rebuild, there's like no reason to hardly ever let a player just go to free agency. Like,
Yeah. The Kirby Doc one I understand because I mean they did get Frank and Azar out of it in the end, so
yeah,
that one actually kind of worked out pretty well for them.
because
The
they got
Strome
some
one is a
draft.
weird
They
one,
got
though.
some draft capital back for that one,
Yeah.
so that makes sense. People say they shouldn't have traded Hagel, and I mean Hagel would be real nice for him, but would they have got Bedard if they kept him? Would he have knocked them out of being in that lottery spot?
Well,
Maybe.
and the guy that was
And they got 2 first rounders for
yeah. I was
him
gonna
as
say he
well.
was like a middle six player for Chicago. Like he wasn't anything special in Chicago. And if you get offered 2 firsts, like
Yeah.
you'd lose your job if you say no to that at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
And yeah, they probably maybe they would end up with Bedard, right?
Well, interesting, but
That was our one trade of the week here. No other trades happened this time. We do have some milestones happening around the league. I'll let you hit us with these. You can talk about some of your boys over there in Tampa.
yes, sir. Because in the same game, I believe it was a minute and a half ish apart on 2 separate goals. Nikita Kucherov hit 1,000 points in his career. He is the 101st player in NHL history to do so. Those who remember the late stages of last season will remember Nathan MacKinnon hit 1,000 as the 100th player. And then a couple minutes later, not even 2 minutes later, Victor Hedman got an assist on another goal, which hit 800 points in his career. The 19th all-time defenseman to hit 800 points, and I believe one of only 3 active defensemen to be at 800 points. Two other defensemen that you should be very familiar with.
I was going to say, I'm assuming it's Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson are the other two. Makes sense.
I imagine there's a couple of guys that are not too much further behind Hedman, but it was only the 3 at 800 right now.
3 so far, and that's again, that's not easy to do as a defenseman. Guys like Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes make it look like it's going to be easy when they do it, but Hedman's only the 19th defenseman ever to do it. So it's not easy, and that's not even 1,000. Like, that's only 800 points. The forwards were talking about 1,000. This is only 800 for a defenseman.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Kucherov hitting 1,000. 101 players now have done that. But for 800 points as a defenseman, only 19 guys have done it now. Yeah. Like, it's not a bar a lot of guys hit, and it's crazy. Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, they're going to blow past that. Unless they get serious injuries, and hopefully they don't. It would be very interesting to see if a guy like Cale Makar can be the highest scoring defenseman of all time. It's a really high bar because Ray Bourque, I'm pretty sure, has 1,500. So that's a lot of points, but he started at a young age. He looks really good, especially if we enter another age where goal scoring keeps going up. Like maybe 100-point seasons for defensemen are not as rare as they once were.
Yeah, exactly. We did mention Brent Burns a couple seconds ago. Both Brent Burns and Alex Ovechkin, they have hit the 1,500 NHL games played mark this season. Brent Burns did it near the beginning, and then Ovi just recently here. I think Ovi's also 1 goal away from 900.
Yeah, he's at 899.
Pretty incredible. Congrats to Ovi and Burns on 1,500 NHL games. 2 of the longest tenured players in the league.
Yeah, I mean, there can't be many players who have hit 1,500 over a career. Like, not a lot of guys play that long.
Yeah.
Another thing that I didn't actually have written down, because it's not quite one of those bigger round numbers that we usually celebrate, but I did think it was funny how many milestones the Lightning hit in those 2 minutes, because nobody was talking about it at the time, because Cooch just hit 1,000, and then 2 minutes later, Hedman hits 800 points. But Hagel got an assist on that second goal as well, which hit him for 300 points on his career, I believe. So,
nice. There you go.
Congrats to Hagel as well.
In there. Well, that is all we got for the major news, milestones, trades. There was no signings around the league. Braden, any final talking points or anything to throw out here?
No, I think we've covered all the major ones that I had prepared.
I'm just going to do one final refresh to see if we have any breaking news, because sometimes you get some breaking news, and that's always always very fun. We'll see if that
well, especially when we record these on the Mondays, right? Because some teams love to wait until the next week starts to put their stuff out there. Joseph Wool is back.
There we go.
I don't know if we mentioned that the other day on our last episode, but Joseph Wool is back from his sabbatical. So good to see him getting back in a timely manner, and hopefully everything he was dealing with went smoothly.
Okay, well, that's something we can throw out there. Michael Misa got his first NHL goal.
True. He got that in the Minnesota game, right?
Yeah. Does not seem like there is Any other news going on around the league now? That's about it.
Both Wool and
Actually, start
Nylander
picking up
are on
soon.
ice for Leafs practice. So that's good because I know Nylander's been day to day as of late. So the not the best start to the season that the Leafs were looking for, but looking to get better as they go forward, having both their
Looking
goalies
good.
back and hopefully Nylander healthy pretty soon as well.
For sure. But I guess that is the end of the episode here. If you want to talk hockey, if you want to let us know your thoughts on the potential idea of the NHL going to the 2-3-2 platform, and if you want to talk about that or let us know your thoughts, you can do so through any of our socials or over on YouTube, where things have been bumping over there. Braden, not a lot going on around the NHL right now, though. We do have some crazy week coming up here. Actually, here's what we can do. Here's what we can do to wrap it up here.
Oh shit!
Let's throw together, because I can't believe we totally forgot about this. So this is something we can actually talk a little bit about here now. Actually, tomorrow, October 28th. Do you know what day it is?
October 28th.
You bet.
Is this a trick question? Is this Truth Reconciliation Day? I don't know.
32 teams in the NHL, 16 games tomorrow, all spread out. Tomorrow is the Frozen Frenzy. Totally forgot that tomorrow is the Frozen Frenzy on a Tuesday.
Nice marketing, NHL. We're about to hit 200 episodes on a hockey podcast, talking basically only about you guys. And we didn't know tomorrow you were doing your big Frozen Frenzy.
So the first game that kicks off, 2 games starting at 4 o'clock our time tomorrow. The last game starting at 9 p.m. our time.
Starting at 9 p.m.
Of course, that is San Jose and LA.
Of course it is.
But I mean, it is like 8 o'clock start time there, so like that's understandable, especially when you do want to space all the games out and not have them overlapping too much. But big day of hockey tomorrow, so that's fun. I still wish they would do more rivalry matchups though for this day.
Yeah,
but like
it
I
would
don't want
be
to
nice.
say I get it because they have to space them out, but like you still can.
Yeah. I imagine it's a lot of like they make the schedules, they know what routes teams are going on, and then they just pick random days and they're like, we'll move this game in from this day and bring this one forward a day, bring this one back, and they just consolidate a bunch onto the one day instead of actively planning to have that one day in there somewhere. I feel like they just move it around at a certain point.
Yeah. But for
who
any hockey
knows
lovers,
how
for
they do
any
it.
fantasy hockey fiends like ourselves, I just got my first win on the season last night. It's pretty cool.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Every team's playing tomorrow, so there's going to be a lot going on. Good luck to all those who are going to throw together their 16-leg parlays and hopefully win big. I went 14 for 16 last year. I was so close.
But, what teams? Do you remember what teams screwed you over? What teams didn't pull through for you? It's a pretty
Dallas
random thing to
Buffalo.
remember. Okay, well, Dallas is rough, but you probably should have known on Buffalo.
Nah, because Buffalo's playing some loser. Or maybe it was, I can't remember. Maybe it was Buffalo beat Dallas. So maybe Buffalo wasn't one of them. Oh, no, because it wasn't the actual Frozen Frenzy, because there was another day. There was one in like March or something, or February, where all 16 teams played.
Yeah.
And I picked Dallas, and Buffalo beat Dallas. And then I picked Tampa, and Anaheim beat Tampa that day. That's what.
Oh, right.
That's brutal. So it wasn't the actual Frozen Frenzy. It was the Temu version of the Frozen Frenzy, the one that doesn't get marketed.
I remember that game. Dostal absolutely went off that game.
But I guess now we can officially say we are at the end of the episode here. Again, if you want to talk hockey, go over to any of the socials. Come say hi. Come say boo. Come say you love hockey. Braden, not a whole lot going on right now, but you know what time it is. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Everyone who is still here and watching, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Especially for you are watching on YouTube, go into the comments and leave us a comment and let us not forget that Brundy said 6'7".
Fuck, I hate that. I hate that.
He
That's tough.
said it.
I was checking out the TikTok the other day. I didn't realize that I completely called what the Kyle Connor extension was going to be.
You
That was pretty cool to see.
completely called it.
But I didn't say 6'7". I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
I'm gonna make a clip of you saying it. You're gonna go viral. You're gonna be known as 6'7" kid.
I'd really rather not. I'd rather be known for anything else.
I love
Anything
the
else,
thought
just
of
not that.
6'7" kid having a mustache. It's just
All
the
right.
internet. They call everybody kid. Unless you're
I'm
Unk.
getting the hell out of here. One final time. Hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, we will see all of you lovely people out on the ice later this week.